Let's take a look at customizing and saving your workspace in Adobe Illustrator. Opening up Illustrator here, I have a clean blank document open. Manipulating and saving your workspace is independent of anything that you might be working on, any file you have open. So feel free to do this at any time. All the way in the upper right hand corner is a shortcut drop down that will show all of the workspaces that you have available to you. I'm going to push mine back to the workspace that I personally use. For the purpose of this demo, we are going to start with a base workspace. So under the long way around to get to the workspaces, under Window, Workspace, we're going to start with the Essentials workspace. Now, likely if you clicked on that, it looks different than what I have going on here over on the right-hand side, and that's because I've been wonking around with this workspace, and we want to reset it to its out-of-the-box state. So back to Window, Workspace, and towards the bottom is Reset Essentials. This will put it back to its out-of-the-box state. So over here on the right-hand side, we're going to concentrate on this palettes menu. How these work, you can tear off any of these. I'm going to grab this Libraries palette by clicking on the tab where the name is and dragging over. This is a shortcut to the Adobe Online Resource Libraries. This is another paid service and I really don't use it, so we're going to go ahead and close that. So bye-bye. And we just need to open a few more palettes, arrange them in a meaningful way, and save the workspace, and off you go. So again, under the Window drop-down menu, this is where you can find all of the palettes that you have available to you. If you're looking for something, can't seem to find it because it's hiding, you can highlight it on this list, click on it. For example, I just opened the color palette. Illustrator will automatically pop that open for you, and then the first time you open a palette in Illustrator, always make sure you go to the drop-down menu in the upper right-hand corner, and if there is a Show Options available, click on that. Color palette's a great example. If you don't show those options, you won't be able to see your color formulas. All right, back to the Window drop-down menu. We need to open Align, which also has Transform and Pathfinder nested with it. This is probably the palette I'm in the most. To move these around, just make sure you're clicking on the dark gray bar at the top, not the individual tabs with the names. We're going to go back to the Window menu and open the Info tab. This will give you width and height of a selected object, corner radius, and the location of its registration point. There's also a navigator palette nested in here that some people find it a little easier to navigate around their document using. It shows a thumbnail, you just kind of click and drag. You can do the same thing on the artboard if you just have the selection tool and press the space bar. Notice the pointer goes to a hand. You can click and drag the entire screen. So more than one way to get to the same result. Back to Window, and almost all the way at the bottom, Type and Character. This will give us our character options for our type, our typeface weight, size, etc. And also nested with that is the Paragraph tab. That's where your alignments are, left, center, right, and the justified options. While I have this open and in front of me in the upper right hand corner is the Show Options, I'm going to go ahead and open that up. A lot more options than most people use with type, but nice to have available. So again, by clicking on the dark gray bar at the top, I'm going to grab this character palette with its little nest there, drag over to the right hand side, and you'll see as I get close, it's going to highlight the entire left side. If I let go here, it will drop this palette in as a second column to the left. But what I really want is to drop it all the way at the bottom. And you can see by these blue highlights where it's going to drop this nest of palettes. Again, I like to have mine all the way at the bottom. While I'm over here, if I hover just to the right of the scroll bar, to the left of the actual bar with palettes, I get a flat double-headed arrow, and that'll allow me to drag this out to a point where I can read the entirety of the names. At some point, you won't need the names anymore after you become familiar with the icons, but it is a great place to start. Alright, I'm going to grab this Navigator Info tab. I like this one to be the second grouping down, so in between what was the first and second group. And then the Transform, Align, Pathfinder, I'm going to put pretty much right in the middle. Like I said, I want that one close by. It's the one I'm in most often. Okay, this looks pretty good to me. I like to have the color palette open, just it's the one on top before I save. So to save this workspace, we're going to go to Window, Workspace, and New Workspace. That's going to bring up a dialog box that will ask for a name. This is going to be my demo workspace, which I will use for tutorial videos from here on out. So if you're a follow along person, everything will be in the same place on my machine as yours. So I'm going to hit OK. And what we can do now is, let's say I'm working and I want the color palette over here and I need my align tools out and close by, and I'm working on logos, so I need Pathfinder over here. And then I'm actually looking at my layers palette while I'm working. Alright, so if I finish up and I'm all done, I want to put things back in their place, or I get some more stuff open and it's just way too crowded, what I can do is go back to this drop down in the upper right hand corner and hit Reset Demo Workspace, or you can do the same thing through the Window menu. So Window, Workspace, Reset Demo Workspace, and everything goes back to the state where we saved it.